Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. Um, I have decided to do two videos today, but today I'm going to start off with my fourth grade optical illusion art project. And if you hear that, sorry, we got our neighbor apparently cutting down trees or something, but so hopefully that racket won't be too bad. But today we're going to do our fourth grade optical illusion project. Now this is whenever I think the optical illusion projects start really getting interesting. You might be able to teach this with third graders. You just need to talk to them about precision and precise and really clean lines. So we start talking about optical illusions and how you can create a flat drawing to look three-dimensional. So this is what we do. We've got three spheres. Be careful. You got three different spheres going on, and then we've got a checkerboard in the background. I've seen this done where the checkerboard and the spheres are all the same colors, and that kind of adds a neat little effect as well. You don't have to do all three of the spheres the same colors. And you can see right here, I did all three of the spheres different colors. Now this one was done with crayons, I believe. I might have done colored pencils, but it definitely has a texture. And I've got different colors, so I've got yellow and blue, I've got yellow and teal, and I got like a teal and orange. And you can choose whatever color you want. So let's get started. Now, uh, I have the students use a compass in class, but since I am at the house, I don't have a compass. Actually, I probably do, but you guys might not have a compass. So I found three cups or spheres that are different sizes. So we're gonna go ahead and use three different spheres, and we're gonna trace around it. So I'm gonna try to do one at a time. You could also probably use the front and the back of some of these cups. If you don't want to find three different cups of different sizes, you can normally find a cup that has at least two different sizes by doing front and back. So I'm going to go ahead and start off. Trace these circles or the opening of your cups around. It's not a very good trace, but I think we're going to be able to see where to color it later. I'm going to put my medium size one right down here. All right. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I can hear it. They're grinding up some limbs in my neighbor's yard. Fun day to do a video. That's okay. I don't mind. Hopefully it's not too distracting for you guys. All right. Last one. All right. There's my little one. All right. Now, the key to this optical illusion is not the grid. It's not the coloring. It's all about how to do these three-dimensional curves. So, if you notice, I only have four lines in either direction. So, going up and down, or we'll look at this one. Going up and down, I only have four lines. And going left and right, I only have four lines. I've seen students do more. Whatever you do on the right-hand side, you need to do on the left-hand side. So if you do three sections of lines, you need to do three sections of lines to the left. Otherwise, your grid pattern will not work. It won't be a checkered sphere. So let's go ahead and just start it off easy. So I'm going to start off with my piece of paper turned this way. And I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to put a little point right at north and put a little dot at south. So if it was like a compass and this is a circle, I'm going to the top and the bottom. Now, the first two lines are going to just be curves. So I'm going to take my first curve and I'm going to curve it to the left and I'm going to meet at the bottom point. So watch. Curve it just slightly to the left and come back to the point. Come back to like North Pole to South Pole. Think of it like a globe. Okay? Now we're going to go back up to the North Pole. And now we're going to curve to the right, and we're going to meet back at the South Pole. Do not crisscross, otherwise it won't look like a three-dimensional sphere. You don't want to cross your lines ever. So you want to start at the exact same point. So North Pole, I'm going to curve gradually to the right now. I'm going to come down to the South Pole. Okay, now that's my first two lines. Now, I tell my students we're going to do two more. And the way to do this is I like to actually scoot to the left, curve to the left, and then we scoot to the right, and we curve to the right. You're not actually meeting back at the point. So watch what I'm going to do. Scoot to the left, and then curve to the left. And we're going to stop right about the same place that we started over there. Okay? Now we're going to scoot to the right, and we're going to curve to the right. Now, to make this look really good, you need to do your east and west now too. So, I'm going to go ahead and do left side, right side, put my little points. I'm going to curve up now. So I'm going to curve up. I'm going to start back to the east side. That is west, Mr. Griffin. So sorry. I'm going to start on the west side, and I'm going to curve down. Now, we're going to scoot up, and we're going to curve up. So I scoot up, and I curve up just like that. Scoot down, curve down just like that. Now, I know I took that kind of slow, but that's how to make kind of like a fun little three-dimensional sphere. Now, it's starting to already look like it pops up a little bit. We'll do some more things to it in just a little bit. So, I like to not have all three of my spheres facing the same way. So I start turning and making my north and my south pole switch. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my piece of paper and I'm going to just actually turn my piece of paper. So now I have a new north pole, south pole, east, and west. And we're going to do the same thing. So watch, I'm going to start at the north pole and I'm going to curve to the left or curve west. Come back down to the South Pole. I'm going to go back up to the North Pole. I'm going to curve to the east or curve right. I'm going to scoot to the left. I'm going to curve it to the left. I'm going to scoot to the right, and I'm going to curve it to the right. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the east and west, and I'm going to curve it up. I'm going to curve it up. Oh, I said up. I'm going to curve that one down. Scoot up, curve it up, scoot down, and curve it down. Just like so. Now, on the third one, here's the problem. If you notice, if I turn this all the way upside down, it's not going to be any different than this. If I tilt it this way, it's not going to be any different than that. So, what you can do, there's not a lot of choices to do. If you tilt it just ever so slightly. So now, I've got straight up and down, north and south. I've got tilted at an angle, that one. You could tilt it at an even more drastic angle, but then it's getting close to that one. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt it ever so slightly, just a smidgen, which is going to still be similar to this one, but we're going to try our best to make it a little bit different. So I'm going to do my north pole, my south pole, east, and west. Then we're going to go ahead and curve to the left. I'm going to curve to the right. Now, for these bigger circles, if you wanted to do 3 lines, you can. I'm not going to still. I've been doing this for a while. I like just 2 lines. Now I'm going to curve. I think my west is a little bit off. Okay, maybe not. Scoot up, curve up, scoot down, and curve down. Awesome, just like that. So now I've got 3 different spheres. These 2 look almost identical. Like I said, there's really not many options to do it. You can do it straight up and down, and you can do it at an angle. You can adjust those angles ever so slightly so they look like they're kind of moving a little bit. But really, that's about all you can do is up and down and at an angle. So there's that part. Now, the really fun part is we're going to put the grid behind it to make it a little checkerboard pattern. Now, once again, if you've been watching, Mr. Griffin doesn't have a ruler at his house during our quarantine phase. So I've created a straight edge. And what you're going to do is you're going to stake your straight edge, start at one side of your piece of paper. Now, we are going to draw our grids from left to right and top to bottom, but we are not going to draw through our circle. So watch. I'm going to start at my circle. I'm going to draw my line straight up along the line, Mr. Griffin, and then straight down along the line. Now, Mr. Griffin did mess up. That happens. None of us are perfect. We all mess up. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that little doodad. Now, notice how I just put it behind it. Now, I'm going to scoot over. I'm going to keep on going. Now, I've talked about this before. If you are going to continue on making these lines, don't just move your ruler down making random lines. I recommend trying to put your ruler on the edge of the last line that you drew and then just following it down. So I have not mastered this time lapse thing, at least not on my computer, at how to do that and how to video in time lapse. Maybe if I record it on my phone sometime, I'll be able to do that. So I'm going to just have to bear with me. I'm going to try to get this done real quick. Stopping at your circles. Always stopping at your circles. Don't go through your circle. Otherwise, it's going to like really mess up your three-dimensional circle. So stopping every time you get to your circle. Continue on with the lines. Now, I do this on a couple of days with my fourth graders. The first thing we do is I teach them how to make the three-dimensional spheres. And then I have them use the compass, and we do the spheres. So I do this in stages, guys. So I make sure that my students all have 3 good spheres before I even start talking about the grid in the background. And then once I do that, I just kind of like run on it really quickly, and I say, okay, so if you can do this left and right, you're going to do the same thing top and bottom. And they seem to get it without me having to show them. So I might do a few of these, probably Mr. Griffin's OCD or type A personality, where I can't leave something unfinished. I'm going to probably finish this. And if some of you know me, you know that I'm probably lying. I am not a real big type A personality, but a little bit of my perfectionist does come into play if I'm doing artwork and I just leave something unfinished. I get a little bogged down by it not done. Oh no. Oh well. So Mr. Griffin had a little wonky thing with his paper. That's why you need rulers. It works. It tends to work a little better. But like I've said before, Bob Ross taught me a long time. It's just a happy little accident. No big deal. We can fix that. And I got it taken care of. So I'm going to continue on. Only about 3 more lines. And then I'm going to show you guys how to color. Everyone's like, Mr. Griffin, I know how to color. I'm sure you do. But I'm going to show you how to color it so it looks like the pattern. And if you were following along yesterday, I did an optical illusion with third graders. And we did talk about checkerboard where we jump. And so that's kind of where I'm moving towards with my fourth graders as well. So they should already know how to. My big old thumb. Anybody see that? Big old thumb. I messed up right there. I'm messing up a lot today. Sorry about that. All right, so here's my checkerboard and here's my grid. Now, if you want to color this, here's how to color it. You are going to take a few colored pencils that you got going on right here, and you're going to color this in a grid pattern or a checkerboard. So I'm going to go ahead and do purple and green spheres and then orange and yellow background. But I'm going to just start a little bit. So to do this, you just pick somewhere. And guys, you can start in the center. So if I started in the center with this purple, and I hope you guys remember, I've talked about a color safari. So a color safari is instead of picking up all your colors and you're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, what I like and recommend you do is you're going to do all the purple. So that way we don't have to like go back and forth and waste more time picking up different colored pencils and going like that. So if this is purple, here's what I tell my students. You cannot cross a line. So if it connects at a line, it cannot be the same color. So you can't do purple here, 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 or here. But if it touches at a point, 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 those are going to be purple. So I'm going to do one more just so you can see. And it kind of works at a diagonal if you go along the lines at an angle and coloring this purple. So don't worry, guys. I am not going to waste all your time. I'm going to actually probably stop right there. So I'm going to continue on with this purple and green pattern. Then, after you do the background, I've chose to do the background in yellow and orange. So here is the last step. If you noticed on this grid, we've got a shadow. We've got a shadow. Now, if you get all of this done and all this colored and you just want to stop, great, stop. Because guys, it still looks good just like that. But I like to add one more element, and it's the three-dimensionality of it with a little bit of a shadow. Now, here it does get a little tricky. You need to keep your shadow line going the same way for all of your spheres. So don't have a shadow coming down this direction and then have a shadow going that way and have a shadow going like up in that direction. So I'm going to try my best to make all my shadows going off in that direction. Okay, so I've got this background colored. I've got this grid colored. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start at like the left and right sphere, or maybe it's like more like this, because if I'm going to make my shadow going that way on all of them, I'm going to start here and here, and I'm going to gently take my black and outline just around the outer edge of where the shadow is going to be. Now, gently going over there. Now, you're going to actually put some black up on your sphere as well. Guys, you're going to want to not color dark with this black colored pencil. You don't want to color over all of the good stuff that you've already colored with your crayons, or I mean with your colored pencils and your grid. You're just adding a little bit of a darker element, okay? Now, the darkest spot can be right on the sphere. It kind of helps add the shadow right here. Now, once you blend it in there, you're going to want to extend your circle out a little bit into the checkerboard. So I'm going to extend it out as a bigger curve. And then I just want this to be like a light shadow. So I don't want this to be super, super dark. I'm just doing a very, very light shadow into my grid of my orange and my yellow. It could even be drawn out a little bit more. This is the last thing that you're going to do to them. Now, if you want to do a little bit darker right underneath where the ball would be, feel free. That kind of helps make the shadows pop a little bit. So I don't know if you can see that. I like to blend this in a little bit better than what I'm doing. I kind of made some rough, quick lines. Mr. Griffin's actually a slower artist and slow drawer. He likes to take his time, but these presentations, I kind of work a little faster because I want to make sure you guys get the idea without boring you guys by you watching me color for so long. But there's something, I think you can see the shadow. I think you can see. Now, be careful. Every time you do this, you might not get your sphere just for the right thing. So you want all the shadows going the same way. Like I said, don't accidentally start coloring your shadows a different way. So you want to possibly turn all your paper in the same direction and do all three shadows at the same time. I wanted to go ahead and show you the end result of a shadowed one. So I had a first one had already started. So this is the beginning. This was the shadow part. And if you get all that done, you should be able to get to this. If you look really carefully, guys, I've kind of messed up. I've got one going this way. I've got this one slightly tilted, and this one slightly tilted a little bit more. But you can still see the shadows. Maybe the different sizes is causing it different. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I know I enjoyed teaching it. Have fun. Be safe. I love all of you guys. And don't forget to wash your hands. Hope to see you real soon after the quarantine. All right.